Is Obama going to jail? Doubtful. Sorry, guys. Very unlikely. Is anyone from his administration going to jail? Probably not. They'll probably get a little fine and swept under the rug. Because that's usually what happens. The Durham investigation didn't come out with anything, and all of a sudden, Tulsi Gabbard comes out with this explosive situation and report. But again, we're going to talk about it, but do I believe anything's going to actually happen? Because the Republicans are probably not going to do anything. We'll discuss what Tulsi Gabbard just said about really exactly what Trump was talking about that happened back in 2016 and really a coup against him. We'll discuss it. Also, we're going to discuss the Genius Act, this new bill. Even though I like David Sachs, I truly like his businesses, I like his thought pattern, I love listening to his podcast, I do not like the Genius Act because I believe it's going to be a backdoor. Even though they say it's not, Republicans are like, it's not going to be a backdoor for CBDC. I think it's exactly what it is. We'll discuss why I believe that and how, yeah, under this administration it may not be, but you're building the legwork and interpretation to be CBDC coming. Very dangerous. You know, we've been talking about, China buying our land, not buying our land. We're kicking them out. Wait till you hear this news story of this very, very rich person in China just purchased a monster amount of land in a certain state. Again, I thought we were getting them out of that. Well, the last 3 or 4 days we've talked about we're not getting out of it at all. And then the last 2 stories, again, our food system is broke. We're going to talk about what Dairy Queen just got warned. I love how people go there for their ice cream, and what we realized is, ice cream, we make ice cream here at the house. It's like 4 or 5 ingredients, no big deal. Pretty much the biggest part of ice cream is milk and the milk fat that's in the milk, and somehow, under the new regulations, Dairy Queen doesn't have enough milk in their ice cream and enough fat from the milk in the ice cream. That's pretty alarming. What else are we eating, people? And then last story, one encouragement. The decline of Christianity has stopped this year. We're starting to see an increase. Now here's the thing. True Christianity, true biblical manhood, true biblical Christianity is what needs to come back, not this frou-frou-ness. I'm excited to see this story because it shows that some people are wanting to believe in something so much bigger than what politics, what this world, what money can give us. Let's dive into these stories today and a few more. This video starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. We humbly thank you for finding our channel. It seems like we have been held down pretty good. And I will be talking about that in the next few days. I just got an email and a call from YouTube. So we'll be discussing that in the next few days. But I wanted to get these stories out today that we need to talk about. Also, remember, we're doing a vlog release today on Life with Colby Mack. You see just really a bad situation on farm that happened and then turned out being okay. But just go check out that video. Great video. You see our children involved. You see me involved. You see sustainable living on a prepping farm and a homesteading farm. But it is a great video, so go check it out on Life with Colby Mack. That vlog came out today. Now let's jump into the stories of the day. First, let's talk about this Tulsi Gabbard situation with Obama. Now, under what Tulsi Gabbard is saying, basically it shows that the deep state is real. And under Tulsi Gabbard and what she's saying, it truly implicates Obama, Brenner. It really takes over every part of his top administration. This says, I'm still trying to process what just happened. The highest-ranking U.S. intelligence official just released a smoking gun document proving that Obama and his underlings committed treason and sedition. Meanwhile, Trump was right about everything about the news being fake and the deep state real. It literally proved every bit of this. Go do a deep dive on Tulsi Gabbard's Twitter file. Meaning that all of us conspiracy theorists were right, and it was just not a conspiracy. It was truth. It says, meaning the shadow of war is real. All the efforts for the last 10 years to ultimately take over Trump was all in effect by the Obama administration and, of course, the Biden administration because they were all tied together. But pretty much the establishment behind it. Meaning we're not crazy. We were right. Dinesh D'Souza says, I'm hearing that we can't put Obama in handcuffs because of civil unrest. But wait, Democrats didn't hesitate to drop 90-plus charges on Trump, try to lock him up, put him in a pitcher to blast out to ultimately say he's not above the law. But now unless Republicans, unless the government does something that shows that Obama's above the law. The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has released declassified documents suggesting that during the Obama administration, intelligence was manipulated to falsely implicate the Russian interference of 2016, the U.S. election aiming to undermine Trump and his presidency. The documents allege that President Obama was briefed that Russia did not impact the election outcome. However, they pushed it as part of the collusion. The matter has sparked calls for investigations of what Gabbard described as a conspiracy. Do you realize this is basically very treasonous? Now, we throw that term out a lot, but honestly, this is the exact representation of an overthrow of government or coup. You're saying the will of the people does not matter. What I want is dictatorship, and Trump will destroy all that. I love what Michael Flynn says. He says, if Obama walks and all his administration walks, this is in carriage of justice, and no one will actually support America and its government anymore. You know, we talk about the Epstein file, and this is a big deal. I mean, a huge deal, and it should not be covered up. We should know every bit of it. But this is also a big deal, and no one's bringing the attention. I mean, the pandemic, big deal. All these things are big deals, and what makes me so mad, and this is what makes me so discouraged, is that the Republicans have yet to arrest anyone. We've been in office for 7 months. We've hit all these bombshell stories, and not one thing. It seems like all we want to do is just embarrass everybody. We broke the story. All right, let's go eat some caviar later. Let's broke the story. Oh, we'll go eat, a steak later. Oh, we broke the story. And nothing actually happens. I want results. I want results. One thing about me as a business owner, a farmer, someone that's a prepper, I see the problem, I want the solution. I don't want to just see the problem, stay in the problem, lax in the problem, and act like the problem's too big for me. I want to take the problem and figure the solution. And until we get people in Congress, until we get people in the legislative branch, until we get people even in the executive branch that's willing to say, and it may be Trump, but it needs to be more of the people bringing it to attention to say, look, we have a problem here. It's a broken part of our government, and we need a solution. We need to arrest people. We need to find people. We need to make sure that people know what actually happened. But instead, if we sweep it under the rug, like honestly, no one's picked up the Gabbard story on mainstream networks. Now, to be honest with you, I don't watch mainstream networks. I don't believe anybody does. But to be honest with you, a big part of the populace still does. And not a one has hardly picked it up and started talking about it and actually making a difference. I think Jesse Waters did. But this proves Obama should be in jail. If not, his CIA leader, his Director of National Intelligence, all of them, Clapper, Brenner, all of them, they all need to go to jail. And if they don't, then it is a miscarriage of justice, and you cannot tell me that we can have a civil society if we allow this to happen. What did we talk about yesterday? It's like we give a pass to the legal immigrants for breaking the law. Now we're going to give a pass to the establishment. So all us middle class folks, if we get a ticket, we can't even get out of a ticket. If we skip out on a bill at 10 cents lower, we're going to jail. It's amazing how the middle class is always the one that has to foot the bill and take care of everything, and we're the ones that's actually paying the taxes to fund all this stuff going on. We should hold people accountable. And our leaders, if our leaders don't bring charges, you need to get rid of all your Congress and Senate of your state. Now, before we go any further, a word from today's sponsor. It's so important to be safe, and this company can help you. Have you ever Googled yourself and literally your family members and information of yours came up? The question always comes to mind is how much of my public information is actually on the World Wide Web, on the internet where people could just access it. Not only that, think about all the spam calls you get, all the spam emails you get. I get several a day and have to block and block and block. That's where my friends at Aura, the sponsor of today's video, can help. Aura will help remove your personal information from data brokers and people searching sites to sell your information from and to identity thieves and scammers and more. Aura monitors your personal data, including your social security number, your house number, your phone number. And not only do they check it and monitor it, they will alert you if all of a sudden they find that your information has been compromised. Also, Aura VPN. VPN protects you on the internet, and this was with military-grade protection when it comes to Aura's VPN. It blocks all scam and phishing sites from getting your information in your accounts. What about an antivirus? What about a password manager? 24/7 US-based support. I get all this in one app called Aura. I do not want to leave myself vulnerable.
We talk about it all the time. We live in a digitized world. The last thing I want to do is protect my home and not protect myself online. Check out aura.com/themacs today. You will not be sorry that you did. My information is mine. My social is my social. My address is mine. The last thing I want is someone else to have it. You can go to my link below, aura.com/themacs, and get 2 weeks free. That will be enough for you to see how Aura is an asset to you, because you're going to realize how much you're exposed online. Stop leaving yourself vulnerable. Check out Aura today. Link is in the description. Thank you so much, Aura, for sponsoring today's video.
Now I want to go right to the next story of the Genius Act. Personally, again, I'm a huge Trump supporter, but I am a David Sachs fan. I like David Sachs. I think he's got a big business head on his shoulders. The crypto, the crypto AI world is, I think, going to be I think it's going to be a black swan for us. I really do. I believe it's going to come back and haunt us to a point where one day we're going to realize we put ourselves in our own surveillance, in our own prison, and destroyed our own dollar. Let's talk about this. Trump's Genius Act sparks fears of CBDC surveillance and grid concerns, along with conservatives' warning of digital slavery. Now, I believe this. I truly believe this. Now, the big push was the last, I think 10 to 14 people that got to sign on, the Republicans, was Trump was making sure that CBDC did not get actually tied to this, meaning there's not going to be a back door. But what we're basically doing, let's go through the steps first. You're building a bill to regulate stable coins in crypto. What that is stable coins is basically a dollar for dollar, dollar for coin, basically saying that if you're playing business on the digitized platforms, you have to have a dollar recipient for that. Now, to be honest with you, that's how our bank should be. That's how our bank started off to be. That's how gold started off to be. See, this is what's so funny, is we're seeing our dollar fall, and basically we're building this new stable coin or digitized dollar. It's actually taking away from the real dollar. Just because they're calling it a digitized dollar or a stable coin that's going to help the dollar does not mean it's actually going to help the dollar. What it's going to do is going to replace the cash dollar for a digitized dollar. So America still has what they quote unquote call the dollar, but it is not cash. And that's the problem. I want cash because cash is king and it keeps surveillance away from me. But basically what we're doing is we're saying these stable coins have to have a dollar ratio, meaning if someone cashes in a coin, they have to have a dollar for it. Well, that's really what dollar started off to be. That's what banks started off to be. It started off where if we put $1 million in the bank, we'd have $1 million sitting in the bank for me. If we put $1,000 in the bank, we have $1,000 sitting in the bank. But because of fractional lending, because of all this reserve currency, and they played with our money and debts, it broke down. It broke down. So it's amazing how we started with gold, it broke down. Then we went to fiat currency, it's starting to break down. So now we're going to this stabilized coin. Eventually it's going to break down, or it's going to be complete mass surveillance. It's going to destroy the dollar. The CBDC is the first, this is the foreshadowing of centralized digital currency. Let's go through some of this. It says stable coins as a gateway for CBDC. The Genius Act allows for private banks to issue government-regulated stable coins, but critics warn the back door to the CBDC is enabling surveillance and financial control over its citizens. Surveillance and censorship risk. The bill imposes strict rules enabling real-time transaction monitoring, allowing banks to freeze funds based on political and dissent-related spending. Meaning, if they don't like what you're doing, they can freeze your funds. I love when people say the blockchain is completely safe, we can see everything going on, we can be completely parallel, it is perfect. No, because what they can do is, even though they can see it, and they don't care if you see it, the blockchain is not safe because they can seize your assets, freeze your assets, stop your assets, and they won't move. Why? Because it's built on a digitized platform. Though framed for private sector innovation, the Fed retains full control, raising fears of transitions to CBDC, potentially expanding debt and masking a looming dollar collapse. I love that everybody pushed that's in the crypto world and Bitcoin world. They're all pushing for this regulation. It's amazing how crypto is set up to be deregulated, decentralized, completely away from government. What this bill does is actually build the legwork and regulation to encapsulate in full control of this crypto and fake currency. So all the things that they've pushed towards, now they're going hook, line, and sinker for basically CBDC. Experts urge converting cash to physical assets, gold and land, will be the best. However, Avoiding CBDC links is preparing a civil unrest for BRICS nations to shift away from the dollar, accelerating the U.S. decline. Do you see this? Okay, so people want freedom. They believe land and gold is the freedom. They believe in true freedom. But because BRICS is out there and because our debt's out there, we may just have to go to this digitized form. So this will be the best for all of us. Do you see how that works? True experts and true freedom-minded, oriented people believe gold, land, and true cash is king. Base your dollars on true money and on the value of, getting out of debt. But no, because we've put ourselves in such a precarious bind, this is the only way to ensure that our dollar is going to be safe. Not the cash dollar, but the dollar overall, the U.S. funding currency. So they're going to move it to a stable coin or digitized currency. What this does is puts it where monitoring and surveillance 24 hours a day on your accounts. I mean, think about the blockchain. You literally can see everything on there. So ultimately, your money is never safe because it's always done with ones and zeros, and they can find it, they can freeze it, they can seize it. It's happened in Canada. It's happened in Canada. It's happening with our U.S. Marshal Services here in America. It's happening in Mexico, and it's happening in Europe. It is literally happening. And basically, if they say, "Well, no, we can't. You can't use your money for this today. You can't use this as political opposition. You can't use this because you're buying something that's, like a 2A rights. No, you can't use this because you've bought too much meat." This is actually setting up for that, people. What it is, they've destroyed the dollar so much with the debt, and we can't keep spending. I mean, we are literally keeping spending going when we don't have the money. So therefore, that's what they're trying to do is push us over to a new currency to make it all reset and start back over. And they'll destroy that one too because we didn't learn our lesson. It's like if someone's addicted to something, you have to break the problem. You can't just mask the symptom. So I can tell the guy to not drink, but if I keep giving him a lot of money, he's probably going to go buy things he shouldn't be buying, correct? Well, it's the same thing. If we don't fix our habits with spending, then nothing is going to help us, and this is just going to put us even more under surveillance. Is this really what we want? Along with the Republicans and the conservatives backing this. I don't want more regulation on any industry. I want less. It's amazing we're pushing for less, and then all of a sudden we make this genius act, and everybody's like, "Whoa, whoa, good job. We got regulation for crypto. Now we feel safe." Well, the whole purpose of getting away with crypto and staying in crypto, mind you, for the last 10, 15 years, everybody pushing it was like the Wild West. It was away from the regulation of the government. Now it is fully backed and fully secured by the regulation of the government with the SEC and making sure that you are getting watched at all times. And we're happy about it, huh? Please, push to use cash. Push to keep gold. Push to buy land. Push to have those freedoms. Okay, if you buy into this stuff, this crypto stuff, this AI stuff, and this digitized forms of money, and they're going to incentivize it. You watch. What they're going to do is say, for every dollar you give us, one day, this is coming one day, for every dollar you give us, we're going to give you two stable coins back. We're going to double your money, triple your money. People are going to go crazy because they're going to be in so much debt. They're literally living paycheck to paycheck. So this is going to give them a good windfall. They're going to take it hook, line, and sinker, and they are captured. That's what's going to happen. I want to go to this story. It says, breaking out of China's richest man. One of China's richest men, Zhang Shenshan, just bought $67 million worth of New Hampshire land. Here's the thing. It was worth 4 times less than what he bought it for. He bought it for 4 times more than what it was worth. Why did we allow this guy to pay this kind of money? I mean, literally didn't have to go borrow the money. A Chinese nationalist has no ties to America as in American citizenship, and he's buying it in New Hampshire. Listen to this. The land is tied directly to the state's water supply. We have a Chinese nationalist, one of China's richest men, Zhang Shenshan. Remember, all the richest people in China, it's not like America where they have freedom to do what their businesses say. China is very they have a capitalist society, but it's based almost in communism. So meaning, like, they are over they have their hand in everything. I guess that's the best way to say it. So anyone that's made tons of money over there, it's because the government allowed that to take place. So you think this guy's buying this land just because he wants a summer home to get to and see the beautiful hills of New Hampshire? You think he just wants to go canoeing in the lake? And he just paid 4 times the value. 4 times the value of the land. And it's connected to the water supply of the state. We don't think that's a problem. When I've told you for the last 5 years, I've literally told you the biggest fight's going to be water rights. And we just sold. I mean, if I was in New Hampshire or anyone there, I would be upset that the state's water supply is literally sitting next to a Chinese nationalist. I mean, just my thought. I don't think that's a wise thing, do you? All right, now last two stories, and this is kind of the ones that's a little bit lighthearted, but it's a serious issue, and then, of course, the Christianity thing. There's a story from Brianna Morella. It says, the FDA says Dairy Queen soft serve cone ice cream isn't ice cream. According to the FDA, the USDA ice cream must have at least 10% milk fat, meaning it's got to be made up of milk. It's got to be made up of something with milk fat in it. What's amazing is when we make ice cream, we make it with eggs, milk, some kind of cream, which is usually our heavy cream that we have from our cow, some sugar or honey, and that's pretty much it. It's a vanilla. I mean, that's or whatever flavor I'm putting in there. I mean, it's like 5 or 6 ingredients. It's saying now that Dairy Queen soft serve that now has been the most famous thing. Everybody goes to Dairy Queen for their ice cream. We don't, but most people do. Literally, their ice cream is not even considered ice cream because of all the fake ingredients it has in it. You wonder why we're sick. You wonder why we're all so fat and on meds. It's because the diets that we have is a full representation of where we're at in the nation. We wonder why men have low T or women and men are overweight, and we wonder why they're unhealthy. We wonder why we have diabetes. We wonder why we have Alzheimer's. We wonder why we have cancers and diseases because our food system is basically selling you ice cream that has 5% milk products in it. So what's the other 95%? Holy moly. I don't know about you, but most ice creams I eat is completely milk-based. You add stuff with it, but it's a milk-based product. And now you're telling me there's no dairy in it, but 5%? It actually can't even be considered ice cream anymore? What are they going to call it? The white cold stuff? It's a little weird. Check your ingredients, what you're actually eating. I laugh because Chick-fil-A started trying to do ingredients on their stuff to kind of show what's in there. It's kind of open and kind of transparent. It got so big that the receipts were like printing out like this, and people were like, I don't even know what this is. What are we eating? So it actually was a deterrent. So they quit doing it again. They put it in real small writing on the top. What we realized is that the crap you're eating is unhealthy for you. And here's what I get. I know it's bad for me, but I just need to be quick and easy and cheap. Most of the time, fast food is not easy and cheap. It's not quick. And to be honest with you, it's actually harming you more than you know, because ultimately, say for instance, it's cheap right now or economic, it's going to cost you a lot more when you're unhealthy fat or on meds when you're 50 and 60 years old because you've been eating this for 30 years. Let's go back to the butter, the fat, the lard. Let's go back to the natural holistic grains. Let's go back to milk. Let's go back to red meats. Let's go back to eating good diets. What are we doing? Dairy Queen can't even actually call it ice cream anymore. It's going to be called, I guess, the white cold stuff. Go eat your white cold stuff. That's probably why they call it the cool treats. If you heard hot eats, cool treats, it's because they're probably telling you they can't call it ice cream. They got to call it cool treats. Here's a blizzard. Here's a soft serve waffle cone. Here's a soft serve sugar cone. Actually can't call it ice cream because it's not. It's a goop of white cold stuff that you claim to love. And only 5% of it's truly milk and dairy. Wow. All right, guys, the last story I want to wrap up with, and I want to leave it on a good note. This is a story from Anna Lewis. It says, huge win. The decline of Christianity in America has halted for the first time in decades. From literally 2007 till 2024, there's been a sharp decline. It's been actually declining since the 60s and 70s, but really over this last 15, 20 years, it's really had a sharp decline. It says for the first time, again, please know this is not a much in clear heats, but it was like a 1 to 2% increase of a movement back towards godly living and Christianity. Now, we're still way down compared to what we were even in 07. That's scary in itself. But the encouragement is this. When we start seeing an uptick, what it means is people are starting to gain a little bit more wisdom, starting to have a little bit more common sense. And I think what we're actually seeing with our younger generations is this. And I say younger generations, I'm only 37, but I am 37. People want realness. I actually like the fact that that some of these platforms are not paying for anybody that's doing AI, because to me, I don't think we need to I don't think we need the AI generate everything, and that way we don't know what's real and fake. I love the fact that people are wanting realness. Money can't give us happiness and joy. AI can't give us true realness and fulfillment. They can't. Now, they can talk to us on a screen and we can be happy, but ultimately they can't physically touch you and physically give you comfort. Money can't do that either. You know, all the houses and all the beautiful lands, it's great. I tell you to invest in that stuff all the time, but it can't give us true fulfillment. I love to see that people are saying, you know what, I want the house, I want the dog, I want the cow, I want the kids, I want the money, I want all this stuff. And then at the very end of it, they realize that those things were good, but they were not the best. This generation is growing up and they're starting to turn back to Christ. That's what I hope, anyways. There's an uptick. Now, here's the thing. Like the guy, the quote-unquote, Christian that was on Joe Rogan yesterday, complete and utter farce. He can quote scripture some, but then ultimately he puts his worldviews in it, and it's fake. What I want to see is a movement toward Christianity, and not this fake, fluffy, shallow water Christianity. We need people diving deep in scripture and understanding what God and who God is, and who Jesus is in our lives. So this is very encouraging, but I come also with a warning. When we start moving closer to Christ, I believe we're going to see more fights and more dangers for Christian movements because of the pushback of persecution and really being used by this, almost the occult or satanic rituals. I mean, our government even represents sometimes. I think the more we put light in the world, the more dangerous and hard it will be on Christians. However, that doesn't mean we stop. That means we push forward and we put the light out. It's encouraging to see these numbers. Now, it's our time to shine the light and keep the numbers growing and start a true revival and reawakening in America. Guys, thank you so much for watching. This is the best story, no doubt. There's some very worrisome stories from our food system, from our political establishment system, to the fact that our money may be surveilled. One thing that's represented is all these people will let you down, no matter what's behind their name. RDI, it doesn't matter. But there's one thing that won't let you down, is your faith in Christ. Believe in that today. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to our channel. Help us grow. We need your support. God bless.